All right, so it's day 2 now. Went to bed, I don't know, fairly good time. I've got a new CPAP. I'm sleeping really well with that. I don't know, like 6:30 rolls around. We got to be there at 10 for startup. And as I roll over, I look at Luke, and he goes, "Hey, Richard Sorin died." Did not expect to hear those words. Richard Sorin, if you're not familiar with that name, it turns out a lot of the competitors weren't familiar with Richard Sorin. But Richard Sorin was the first captain of Crush. He is the person that coined the term blob. He was the first person to lift a half 100-pound York dumbbell head. He's one of the first people I was ever aware of to pinch grip the old school York 45-pounders. He was truly a pioneer in the practice of developing a well-rounded and shooting for world-class grip. And he was one of my major inspirations. So I've been involved in grip since 2002, and Richard was still going strong at that time, and he was an active member of the grip board at that time. So I would read all of his posts, sent him a few messages over the years. Met him in 2005. He came up for Global Grip Challenge in September of that year. We went down in 2006 to his facility at Sorin in Irmo, South Carolina, for the Global Grip Challenge right around his birthday. In 2011, I was down there and I emceed Summer Strong. In 2017, he attended South Jersey 4 and had a fantastic dinner, which he paid for, and he didn't have to. Richard was a real good friend of mine. And when, over the years, as I accomplished certain feats, he was the first person that I reached out to let him know that I had accomplished them. When I first pinched one pair of old school Yorks, I texted Richard. When I was able to do a pair in each hand at the same time, the first person to ever do so, I texted Richard. When I cleaned the inch dumbbell, I texted Richard. I'm not even scratching the surface of the effect that Richard had on grip. I'm not even coming close to getting a beginning in as far as the strength world, but it really affected me. It was tough. It was tough just to walk to the bathroom after I heard that news, and it was an absolute struggle that morning. So one of the first things I did was I messaged Eric to ask him if it would be okay to address the field of competitors prior to day 2, and he said that was okay. So I prepared a speech, and the words kind of just flowed out of me. I'm happy with how it turned out. Tried to keep it short, but it was tough to get through. But I really appreciate Eric letting me do that. Of course, I reached out to Richard's son, Bert, who I'm also good friends with. I texted Andrew Derniat and Chad Woodall, who are both two grip guys that aren't necessarily so active anymore, but for a long time they were really closely knit with Richard, so I wanted to make sure that they knew, and they hadn't heard yet. So I do want to thank James Rodriguez for letting Luke know, because if I would have found out at a different time, like during the contest, I don't know what would have happened. But Richard was a pioneer, and he developed a lot of this stuff that we do all the time, and we just take it for granted. And he was the first person to take some of these challenges on. And when you think about it, when no one's ever even thought about something, it's pretty substantial when someone says, "No, I want to try this. I can't do it now, but I'm going to challenge myself to do it. I don't care how long it takes." And in many ways, that's what Richard did. And, you know, he had a bout with cancer and conquered that, came back. And as I recall, I think I have my timeline right. After he came back from that, he's certified on the number 3. Recertified with the new rules. Now, I could have that out of whack. That timeline might be wrong, but, I mean, somebody sent me a picture where he was pulling a truck with a neck harness. Like, literally, he had the neck harness on his head, and he was pulling a truck with neck strength. And that was definitely after his cancer surgery. So, we lost someone that was an integral part of the early grip world when we lost Richard. So, I'll never forget the man. Never. I suppose it's fitting that on day 2, the contest started off with 3x4 Napalm Nightmare Pinch. This was the event that I struggled with the most during training. And it ended up being the event that I did the best on. The pinch event. So, I want to say that in training, I think my best lift was 245 added. So again, that's about 255 to 260 of total weight. And I ended up getting 127.5 kilos, 281.08 pounds. My hands felt really good then. Everything was locked in. And I was real happy with how that went. So again, no training footage of the 3x4. But I've got at least some of my contest lifts.